Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Bavarian and this is of course Crusader Kings III Dev Diary number 52 with the 1.3 Corvus patch notes. Now I want to tell you that today's Dev Diary will be a bit different, and the reason for that is that of course Northern Lords just released just literally 40 minutes ago. Northern Lords and patch 1.3 actually came out. I made a video on that summarizing everything that you effectively need to know and even focusing on a mechanic that otherwise, let me sit down properly here. I'm very confused about it. There's a really good mechanic, a mechanic that I would like to see expanded on like crazy that isn't even mentioned in these patch notes. We're gonna get to that today because we're gonna rush a bit through this dev diary. It's an interesting dev diary, but most of the patch notes, all that I could say with them is they're good. You know, they made a patch that is good. There's nothing that I looked at and was like, oh, this is problematic. Will this lead to the right? No, listen, it's all good, okay? Don't worry about it. I don't need to go into my argumentation phase here. What we're gonna do instead is we're gonna rush through this dev diary. Then I'm going to give you my opinion on Northern Lords and on 1.3, how I feel about it, how I feel for the future of CK3, because of course the first flavor pack and the first big patch, those are milestones, because we will be looking back at that, you know, in a year, in 2 years, and say this is where the bar was set, what to expect from a flavor pack, what to expect from a major patch, etc, etc. And then after that, I would like to discuss a topic with you that is the Dane Law topic, the Euro partitioning topic that goes under the radar, like totally. I can't explain it. At this point, I would like to thank Linnea and Ewan. I believe Ewan and Linnea wrote the mechanic of the Dane Law, and I can see. Don't worry about the shadows behind me. Okay, my evil energy is oozing out. Now the thing about it is, I want to talk about that. So essentially, 3 sections. We're gonna go through the dev diary. We're gonna go through my opinion on Northern Lords and on 1.3, and then we're gonna go through the Dane Law mechanic in particular. I already did that in the video that I published earlier, the sponsored video that came out 40 minutes ago. Check that out if you're interested. Let's jump in. So, of course, Northern Lords focuses on North Germanics, on Northern Lords. You can see right here, they got some dope. They got some amazing flags. They got some amazing motifs. They got some amazing house words. You know, we carve runes of Freya's prophecy with love and tears prowess. Ivar shares Baldur's justice. So much good stuff in here. Seriously, so much great stuff. I think they have delivered on a quality level that is very much not just sufficient. I think that is equal to what we had in the base game, so at launch, because at launch, of course, all of this was also high quality, much better than what we've seen initially from CK2, and even in, quite frankly, the packs right there. I love the mods in CK2 when it comes to the house sigils. I would argue that in CK3 that is basically not necessary. You see, I think this is Sleipnir, right? Then we got a boat, we got Mjolnir, and we got World Serpent? I don't know, don't ask me, okay? What we have right here is pretty cool. I like this actually in particular. What you can see right here are ravens. This is Moon and Star with runes in it. How cool is that? Are you seeing this? How cool is this? Then we got Mjolnir again. I forgot the name of that. We got, I think this is Yggdrasil. I want to say this is Sleipnir. And this is the Irminsul, and then that is the World Serpent. Wait, is Yggdrasil the World Serpent? This is the World Tree. I don't know what the name is, but that is pretty cool. They are essentially motifs if you found your own religion, if you move on from being, you know, Norse, if you, for example, incorporate something related to Islam, then you have the choice now to say we can have that reflected on top of our actual symbols here. These are incredibly high quality. I really do like them a lot. Then we got, these are just some of them. There are more custom, unique buildings in there, but we got the Temple of Uppsala, the Hotin Fortification, and the Golden Gate of Kiev. I'm a big fan of special and unique buildings because they truly make it so that you can roleplay as the character building it. I think that is something that you won't see in any other region, and that makes it quite special. I also think that these are actually all good. Just look at this. Holding taxes plus 5%. We got a fort level here, of course. So this is just a fortification, but you get taxes, you get control, and you get martial per level of fame and monthly renown. This is good. This is some good stuff. Here as well. Men-at-Arms maintenance minus 10%. Knight effectiveness plus 15%. Great stuff. Really good stuff. They also found a beard, apparently. I guess this was supposed to be in the base files, and there you go, it's a beard. We got some UI changes, we got some barony changes right here. You can now clean up the entirety of everything that is your notification tray just by right-clicking right there. That is very nice. There already was a mod for that, but the more is integrated into the base game, the happier I am. Scotland got some more baronies, Iceland got some more baronies, the Submi got different structures in duchies, I believe also in counties, and then also more baronies right here. Yeah, and that's essentially it. Not to give you the impression that 1.3 and Northern Lords was that small. Again, I very much recommend checking out the patch notes yourself if you want to. As I said earlier, I'm not going to go through all of them. There's a couple of them in here that I would like to talk about, but they are simply good. There's nothing wrong here. There's no bad design decision. They all work. They're all fine. They simply omit one of my favorite new mechanics, but we can talk about that between you and me. You can see there's a lot going on. Magirs now invade immediately in 867 by default. You can still change that via a game rule if you want them to sometimes invade and sometimes not invade, you know, because the issue, of course, initially with the Magyars was that they just get eaten. And when they get eaten, they can't, around 910, I think was the standard date, that they can't invade you, or they can't invade Pannonia. Now they invade by default. I think that is perfectly fine. Gave Hastin the adventurer trait, made him a bit less vulnerable to old age. That is important to me because, of course, with 1.3 and with the Northern Lords, you now have the situation where Norse adventurers will either be chosen, so if there's somebody that is eligible, that is, you know, martially skilled enough, that is, I don't know, I don't actually know what goes into that, I didn't look into the files for that long, but if there's somebody in that world, every 5 years it does a check that says, hey, are there enough Norse adventurers in the world, and then if not, then, you know, it's either British Isles, I think it's the Baltic coast, it's Russia, I think it can be France and even somewhere else, but honestly, I'm not too sure where the distance is there, and that should effectively, let's be real, also solve the issue of the Norse being everywhere. So, you know, the kingdoms, just Sweden holding land in Galicia, that sort of stuff. Instead, you just have some adventurers going around, and the actual Norse AI can be tweaked towards something else. When declaring wars, only count an ally's strength if the ally is at peace. This is nice because, of course, an ally that you have that isn't actually at peace will not come and aid you. That is something that is now considered by the AI. I think that is quite useful. I think that is quite good. And then you can see, I didn't... Just look at this. Listen, it's a long patch log. Don't get me wrong here. But I really, really want to stress, everything is fine. And this brings us to what is my opinion of Northern Lords, what is my opinion of 1.3. I will tell you that I personally, the way I feel about this is that Northern Lords and 1.3 have effectively met and slightly overshot where I wanted to see the content amount and the content quality of any given flavor pack. Now, this is a major free patch, but we can also argue, and I think that this is indeed correct, that the major patch, and this is the bar that is now set for the flavor pack, will always be incredibly tight with the mechanics that come with the flavor pack. So, duels, poetry, winter, hey, Northern Lords, you know, it's Northern Lords. It's a very clear theme. And I think we can see that playing a role in the future as well. At least I would hope so, at least I would argue so, because this makes it so that even if you don't own the DLC, you will still be able to enjoy various characteristics of being a Northern Lord, you know, once you go up there. Right here, I'm loaded in as Jarl Halfdan Whiteshirt, and you can see as well in the actual flavor pack. I mean, honestly, these are amazing. I said this in the other video as well. I love the Norse Imperial Crown. I'm using the full screen barber shop mod right here. Don't worry too much about it. These are great. This is some really quality stuff. If I zoom out a bit further, we will be able to see. Look at that. Look at this stuff. It's beautiful. This is legitimately. I absolutely adore this. There's so much quality in here. It's so much. Look at the beard. It looks wonderful. I think when it comes to the quality, not just of the visual stuff, but also of everything related to the 3D assets that you see on the map. When you look at, you know, the innovations. When you look at the where they are, there they are. The Legacies, incredibly strong, incredibly useful, and incredibly fun. We talked about this in the past, of course, you know, that the Legacies maybe are just kind of boring. Maybe you look at them and you say, why would I want this? Now, they're not only cheaper with this new patch for everybody, but we have an incredible amount of really, really fun mechanics. Dynasty interactions sent to the Varangian Guard. You get more diplomatic range, meaning you can do further invasions. We got so much stuff going on here with the naval speed, with the prestige and fame from battles, and I can't sit right today. Can use the befriend scheme on vassals. Each of your friend relations give you 3 vassal opinion, 2 popular opinion, and plus 1% vassal tax contribution. Popular opinion is so huge. It's massive for the Scandinavian elective, of course. These are great. These are really, really good. Then we got down here the innovations. I will tell you straight up. I showcased all of this in that video, so I'm not going to go any deeper into it, but I will tell you, this is a really good bar. I was worried. We haven't heard anything, or we hadn't heard anything for like 3 months, right? I was worried. I didn't know where's the vision gonna go. Is it gonna align with what I would like out of this sort of content? And I will tell you, I think, for me personally, and please do tell me if you disagree and why you disagree. I like the discourse that we have there, that we had, for example, under the FAQ analysis videos. I personally believe that this is a degree or an amount that I very much... this is the flavor pack bar that is now set, and we gotta hold Paradox to that, don't get me wrong. We have to hold them to this quality. But man, this is quality. This is really good. I can't say it in any other way. Now, I would like to jump into a mechanic that, you know, I'm going to cheat here real quick. Yes, man, of course. Then I'm going to end the war against Northumbria, enforce demands, goodbye. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just rip him out. Listen, don't worry about Ella, okay? He's gone. What I want to talk about is a mechanic that hilariously, Linnea and Ewan, who apparently created this mechanic, I assume there are other people involved, but I want to say thank you, because I am a big fan. And this is the last part of this video, essentially, where I want to talk about this mechanic in particular, because I would like you to know about it, and I would like you to consider what the future of this mechanic could be in CK3 and what it could bring to the game. And if you disagree, I would also like to see your point of view. So what is this mechanic? It's the Dane Law Mechanic. You can, and I'm going to give myself some prestige right here, you can go and tell the Anglo-Saxons, hey, listen, we invaded your land. We live here now. You can't get us out. So why don't we draw a line? And this is where I live, and this is where you live. And most of the time, I haven't seen him deny it. This is not, of course, Alfred, this is Ethelred, but I'm going to send him a letter, and as you can see, we now hold the Dane Law, very cool flag by the way, and they now hold England. Now why do I find this so interesting, just to refresh your memory in case you have watched the video? Because we now have a de jure partition situation. What is de jure partition, you ask? Well, there is literally only one spot in the entire game where I could find this game concept explained. I don't know what happened here, it's so niche, it's so unexplored apparently. But look at this, de jure partitioned. Realms that have been de jure partitioned have been split into two same tier titles, but can still be reunited easily. Either title can drift completely controlled duchies from the other title into its de jure instantly via decision. So there's a decision, integrate English duchy, and this lets us integrate every 5 years one duchy that we control completely, meaning we control, and I think we need to hold the duchy title as well, or one of our vassals needs to. But that is essentially what it needs, right? If we go back to this, if either title is ever destroyed or loses the last of its de jure counties, then the remaining title absorbs all of its de jure. This is big, and let me tell you why I think this is big. When you, as an invader, come in, right? Let's say I am Harald Fairhair, and I do a Varangian conquest all the way down here in Iberia. You know, I look at the kingdoms, and I have to found, let's say, Navarra, or I have to go to Asturias, can't found a kingdom, I have to form my own, right? But for some reason, me, a foreign invader that doesn't even speak your language, doesn't listen to your priests, I have to adhere to what makes a kingdom. Now you might say, and you wouldn't exactly be wrong, let me just check this out right here. You might say, oh, okay, fair enough, but don't you have the decision of founding a new kingdom? And the answer is yes, of course I do. Of course I could do that, and let me just jump into Prussia. I think they are a good case to make this happen. If you form your own kingdom, the reality is, of course, you splinter off stuff de jure-wise, right? Like, stuff joins your kingdom, leaves other kingdoms, and then stays with you. I think we already... Yeah, these are... Oh, I gotta take some more of Mazovia here. Of course, this is the case, right? So we already have a mechanic that sort of orients itself at saying de jure is being changed rapidly and after player agency here. If you found a kingdom, as we're gonna do here in a second, then that is effectively what you do. Title can be created. Yes, thank you very much. But the big question here, the big... ever confusing question, if I go and found a new kingdom, I think we need some more, yeah, there you go. If we found a new kingdom, is why does nobody care? Why does nobody care? Why does nobody in Lithuania or in Poland care that there is a new kingdom that says, I rule here rightfully? Neither Poland, if I was the king of Poland, all of a sudden this is gone, right? There is no king right now, of course, but there are Polish people. We are not Poles, we are Prussians, right? Why is there no impact? And the Dane Law situation addresses this directly. The Dane Law situation says you both are saying, hey, this is my land. Of course you are in competition. The English are saying you're invaders, you need to get out. And they form their own kingdom. They say, hey, if they band together, we need to band together. It's a really cool mechanic that introduces player agency and that introduces a bit of a back pull from the AI here by saying we're going to resist you. If I'm down here, right, if I go down here and let's say Navarra no longer exists, the Umayyads keep splintering, right? They always splinter. Let's say I go over here, I take Badajoz, and I say Badajoz is now called Michael, and that's where I live. Why would the lords, the local taifas, not react to some random Norse Odin worshipping blasphemous fool coming down and saying this is my land now? Instead, they suddenly accept that this is de jure my land if I found a new kingdom, right? The way I see this mechanic is the first way ever that I personally really liked a decision that Paradox made when it comes to de jure or addressing de jure concerns. Obviously, the passive de jure drift, where, you know, duchy by duchy drifts into a different kingdom that has control of these duchies, where that drifts in, it's cool, it works, and it's fine, but it is incredibly passive, and at most, you will be using the integrate title. I mean, honestly, I've never used integrate titles. It's always more beneficial to use domestic affairs or foreign affairs. What I'm saying is, if I now, as the Dane Law, take an entire duchy, let's say the Duchy of Mercia, right? I can immediately go and say I'm integrating this stuff. Wait, can I just offer you vassalage, or you're at war? Okay, well, unlucky for you, my friend. Unlucky for you indeed. The way I see this is that if they went ahead and implemented this mechanic more, and there's a lot of clicking, and my apologies, but if they implemented this mechanic on a more generalized level, in the game files so far, Ewan and Linnea currently implemented that in a very specific British Isles context. If this was a possibility to be generalized, if I form a new kingdom anywhere, and that new kingdom now has, let's say, for 20 years the ability to integrate other duchies that you didn't start out with when creating the kingdom, if that was an opportunity, but also the other way around, where, for example, the King of Poland could say, I'm going to reintegrate Prussia within 2 seconds. I'm going to go, conquer, integrate it, right? That stuff has a dynamic that currently is completely absent. Right now, if there was a King of Poland, he would simply say, well, Mazovia is no longer Polish. In what world? Okay, right? That's where I'm coming from. I was amazed to see this mechanic. I was not amazed to see that this mechanic wasn't advertised anywhere, because this is great. This is some good stuff, and I'm not going to raise a runestone. I would much rather. I think I need to let some time pass, maybe? I'm not actually sure what will allow me to do this here, but I gotta tell you, that's where I'm coming from. I think this mechanic is absolutely great. I love the Dane Law Mechanic. Do I have the Duchy of Mercia? Let's take a look here. Northumbria? Lancaster? Oh, Lancaster's already integrated for sure. But yeah, that is the idea. I'm a huge fan of this. I hope maybe there's like a year that needs to pass. This is an immersive event here, of course. Let's just skip over that. The silver stays lost. Unlucky. I would like to know your opinion. What are the visions that you may have in regards to this mechanic? Because I have to tell you, I have plenty of visions when it comes to this that make the Euromap much more interesting, much more changing, and most importantly, I think, much more reliant on player agency, where you take a look at something that you can do and the AI reacts, instead of you doing something and the AI being like, hey, he's a king now. Look at that guy. He's a king. I'm a big fan of this. I think that this approach that they've chosen here for the Dane Law is the right one. My voice is dying, and I think that's the moment where I need to call it. I would like you to give me your opinion on Northern Lords, on 1.3, and on this mechanic. I love this mechanic. And I love 1.3. I think this is a great flavor pack. Let me know what you think, though. I'm very excited to find out. I sat on my hands the entire time because I couldn't talk about it, right? I saw people discuss it, Dane Law, and my video came out, people were like, whoa, this mechanic? I'm like, yeah, I wanted to talk about it the entire time. Tell me about it, because I've been waiting for a good time, and I hope that good time is now here. Now, with all that being said, I would like to say thank you for watching the video. Go check out the game, go check out the DLC, have some fun with it. But for the moment, of course, thank you very much, dear members of the channel, namely, of course, the Baron, the Counts, and the Dukes. I really, really appreciate all of your high intelligence and beauty. But for now, later, alligator.